today related to what they could mean. We want to talk about what the verses and parables in the Bible mean. We're looking at Judges, and so I need to go over here first. I want to look at my. Oh, okay, cool. It's showing up. I like that. Okay, so I got my chat up here, and so I've got a phone in one hand and chat in the other hand. And so I'm looking at Judges chapter 1. I just thought that would be a good place to start. Judges chapter 1. Verse 1 says, Now after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, Who shall go up against us and the Canaanites first to fight against them? So the Bible itself is talking about war in chapter 1 of Judges. It's talking about war. And Canaanites, that's another reference to canon. Canon related to a word. And so that's all I'll say about this. So, now after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, Who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them? So they wanted someone to go against the Canaanites for the death of Joshua. So Joshua no longer lived. And someone had decided that someone should go against the Canaanites to fight against them. Verse 2 says, And the Lord said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land into his hand. So the Lord is referencing here that the land has been delivered into the hands of Judah. I mean, so this almost reads like one person defeated someone else and then delivered the land to a different person. Hello, Austin Jung. Hello. And do you have any questions you would like to ask? You're welcome. I have not. I think I had played Pokemon at one time. Are you a girl? Yes, I am a girl. I am female, but I am a girl, yes, but I am an adult girl over 18. Absolutely. I have never played Nintendo Switch before. No, I've not played Nintendo Switch. I have not played Nintendo Switch. And the Lord said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land. Please keep asking your questions, though. I have never played Roblox, no, because I don't know how to play Roblox. I don't have a machine to play Roblox, which I believe is a gaming machine or a company, and so I've never played it. I've never played Roblox before. Now, if you have any questions about anything else, please keep writing them. I have watched Disney before in the past, but I've backed off from Disney. I don't have an account because I know they have their Plus thing over on a different app. And so I try to avoid them. I do play, I'll tell you what games I play right now. I will tell you right now what games that I play. I'm going to tell you. Hang on a second. Because I have my laptop up here. So let me see what I have saved. I play Color Fill 3D. This is on my playables on YouTube. So I play Color Fill 3D. I play Room Sort. I play Tropical Merge. I play Seat Away. I play Train Miner Simulation. Brain Puzzle is an arcade game. I've never heard of Sprunky. I play Fairyland Merge, which is a simulation. I play Twisted Tangle. I'm stuck in Twisted Tangle right now. I'm stuck with a tangle I can't get apart. Um, I play Scavenger Hunt. It's a brain puzzle. I play Escape Go, which is arcade. I play Hide and Seek, which is an action game. These are all on playables. Oh, it's on Game Flare. I just play what YouTube has put up here to play because it's easy. It's easy for me to play them, and it's right here in my Google account. I have played Cat Escape before. I play Draw Climber, which is a racing game. I play State.io online PvP. I play Word Search. I play Tower Crash. Tower Crash is fun. It's challenging. Oh, a music game. I have seen music games on TikTok before. And in fact, I was thinking we had a music game here on Google Playables, on YouTube Playables, but it was hard. That one was kind of hard. Or did I play it on TikTok? I think I played the music game on TikTok maybe when I had an account, but it was hard. Now I play 8 Ball Billiards Classic, which is sports. I play, oh, Parking Rush is fun. I actually completed Parking Rush. And so there's no more levels on it. I wish there was more levels on it. Hello, Anita Bath. Anita Bath. Does that mean I need a bath? I would like a bath. Like a bath. I need a bath. That's funny. Anita is such a fun name related to blur words and homophones and word plays. Yes, please tell me a joke. Absolutely tell me a joke. Um, I have not played Northern Heights. I believe I've played Pac-Man, but I had a hard time getting it to work the other day. Pin the UFO is a brain and puzzle. I like playing Pin the UFO. I play Mahjong Solitaire. What does V? Why does yellow and blue get sick? I don't know why yellow and blue get sick. Cards of the Undead. It's RPG and strategy. I don't remember playing that one before. That might be a new game. Because green gets because green gets sick. Oh, why does yellow and blue get sick? Because green gets. Oh, that's an emoji joke. That is a green emoji sick joke, isn't it? Green. Green with vomit. Yeah. I played Tiletopia, which is a brain and puzzle game. I play Kitchen Bazaar. I've played that game before. I play Harvest.io, which is a simulation game. Um, I have played Color Water Sort 3D, which is a brain puzzle. So actually, I play lots of games. I have played Magic Tiles. I think Magic Tiles might be the music game, but I'm not positive. I think Magic Tiles 3 is they call it a multiplayer game. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I appreciate that. If you have any friends you want to share my channel with, I would appreciate it. And I'm just going to say it once because I don't want to spam you guys and make you sick of hearing me say subscribe. You know, it's like we all know how it works. And so I appreciate those of you who do subscribe and watch. Yes, and the notifications. Yeah, sign up for the notifications and select all notifications. Yeah, to get videos sent to you. Yes, we do have a little thingy under the subscribe button to select all notifications so then you know when when I've put out a video. And so I also play Parking Jam, which is a brain and puzzle. I have played Race Masters 3D, which is racing. So I still play games. Draw the Line is fun. That one is a challenge. I've played Draw the Line before. It's been a while since I've played that one. It's challenging. It is very, very challenging. Air, nice talking to you. Nice talking to you too. I have played Hill Climb Racing Light, which is a racing game. I'll see you later. It is a racing game. That one is very challenging. It's on YouTube Playables. I have played Paper.io2, which is an arcade game. I have played 2048 Fusion, which is a board and card game. 2048. I have played Guess Their Answer. Um, and this is a brain and puzzle game. I have played Pokeball Arcade, which that's an arcade game. I have played Attack Hole, which is arcade. I have played Polysphere, which is a brain and puzzle game. I've played Merge Master, which is an arcade game. I have played Dig Deep, which is an action game. I have played Zoo, which is a simulation game. Now, Zoo, I found an error, I think, in the game. And so then I kind of got stuck and I was just stuck there. There was another one that had an error, and I'm not sure what happened to the game because I'm not seeing it here. What I did was I figured out a way to actually erase all my games so I could start over and try to do them a little bit differently. But they still end up kind of playing in the same way. And so starting over didn't really matter a whole lot. It just meant that I started over and I lost where I was at, because I can actually recover at the levels where I'm at anyway. If I slow down some of them, and I can still play them just the same. I play today's hurdle trivia and word game. I play that. Words of Wonder. There's two of them on YouTube Playables. So I play Words of Wonder. I play Idle Restaurant. I did solve Idle Restaurant. I got to the end of it. So once the Idle Restaurant was done, all I did was I was just making lots and lots of money. That's all I was doing, was making lots and lots of money. Same thing with My Perfect Hotel. I've played My Perfect Hotel, and I ended up at the end of that one. I did all the levels, and so there's no more levels to do. So I was just collecting money. So that's all I was doing, and that got kind of boring because I was just bringing in a bunch of money. I was making a lot of money in My Perfect Hotel, and there was no more levels to play. And it's like, well, this is a weird game. I don't have any more levels to play in My Perfect Hotel. And so now I'm just bringing in a whole bunch of money. That's all that's happening. I've played Farmland. That's a fun game. Let me see if I can find... There should be more games showing up than this, because I know they have more games. Maybe these are just the ones I have saved. I'm not sure. I've played Word Search Explorer. This one just came up now. And so these must be the ones I've most recently played, and that's why they're coming up in this direction. Okay, so we're going to look at, and Judah said unto Simon his brother, Come up with me and into my lot, and we may fight against the Canaanites, and I likewise will go with thee into thy lot. So Simon went with him. Verse 1:4. And Judah went up, and the Lord delivered the Canaanites and I almost said pizza, and the Perizzites into their hand. When I saw the two Z's, it's like, I know pizza is not mentioned in the Bible. It was just kind of a trick being played on me. And they slew of them into Bezek 10,000 men. Verse 5, we are in Judges chapter 1. And they found Adoni-Bezek in Bezek, and they fought against him, and they slew the Canaanites and the Perizzites. Now, hello, Majay, hello. And they fled, and they pursued after him, and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and his great toes. Oh my goodness! Why in the world did they cut off his thumbs and toes? And Adoni-Bezek said, 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table, as I have done, and God hath requited me. And they brought him to Jerusalem. There he died. So he sounds like someone who did something wrong to someone else, and so they cut off his toes and his thumbs, which means that he had nothing to hold on to. Oh my gosh, this is so sad. Now the children of Judah have fought against Jerusalem and had taken it and smitten it with the edge of the sword and set the city on fire. Oh my gosh, this is so sad. And afterwards the children of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites, and they dwelt in the mountain and in the south and in the valley. So they had children fighting. This is so terrible. They sent children to fight into Judah. They didn't even have adults, it was children. This is Judges chapter 1, verse 9. And Judah went against the Canaanites that dwelt in Hebron, now the name Hebron. So, and it's spelled the same. Hebron was, it was Kirjatharba. Oh, so the Bible is actually referencing the name changes in here. And Judah went against the Canaanites that dwelt in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron before was Kirjatharba, and they slew Sheshai and Iman and Talmi. Now we are at verse 11, chapter 1. And from thence he went against the inhabitants of Debir, Debir, interesting name there. Nothing to do with De Beer diamonds, I don't believe. And the name Debir before was Kirjathspur, spelled Kirjathspher. Kirjathsepher. Now we're in chapter 1 of Judges, verse 12. And Caleb said, he and smiteth, Smiteth, Kirjathsepher, and taketh it to him, will I give Ashar my daughter to wife. What? Taketh it, and him will I give Ashar my daughter to wife. I wonder, now this one reads very confusing, but I have to wonder if what he is referencing is his daughter, if he's deciding if he's going to give his daughter to be a wife to someone. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, took it, and he gave him Ashah, his daughter, to wife. So that's what it sounds like, that he was seeking out a wife for his daughter, a husband. He was seeking out a husband for his daughter. And so he found a man, Othniel, the son of Kenaz, and he gave him Ashnaz, his daughter, to wife. Though this reads very, very confusing, I will say that much. This part, which chapter? I am reading Judges, chapter 1 of the Bible. I am in Judges, chapter 1. But it reads, and so this one that I just read is chapter 1, verse 13. And it says, and Othniel, I am reading the King James Version. It says, Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, took it, and he gave him Ashah, his daughter, to wife. So it sounds like, though, that they took a woman who was someone's daughter and gave the woman as a wife to someone else. Which that makes sense to me because that is the time of the Bible where men are seeking out a husband for their daughter. What's the story about? Well, it's about a war. At the beginning of Judges, it starts off talking about that it's a war because it says, "Now after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, Who shall go up against us, the Canaanites, first, to fight against them?" And so that's where it starts off. But the rest of it says, "And Judah said to Simon his brother, Come up with me into my lot, and we may fight against the Canaanites, and I likewise will go with thee into thy lot." So Simon went with him. And so but there's a little bit of stuff here, and so it's almost reading like a diary, and maybe there's parts and pieces missing because there's so many things that are missing between each one of these phrases that it just does not make any sense whatsoever. I mean, chapter 1 verse 7 says, "And Adonibezek said, 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under the table, as I have done, and God hath requited me, and they brought him to Jerusalem, where he died." Okay, who's going to win the war? I have no idea who's going to win the war because they're still fighting. They're still fighting. So I have no idea who's going to win the war. Israel is still fighting to this day. It seems like this is a war that is not winnable because there's some currency that they're getting out of fighting. I'm not sure what that is. But in the Middle East, they're still fighting. I don't know why. Okay, so we're on verse 14. And it says, "And it came to pass, when she came to him, that she moved him to ask her father a field. And she lighted him off her ass. And Caleb said unto her, What wilt thou?" Now, what does that mean? What wilt thou? And she said unto him, Giving me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south land. Give me also springs of water. And Caleb gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. Oh my goodness, it sounds like we have gunshots going on. It sounds like someone is shooting off gunshots. We have sound effects outside. And so I've moved on to chapter 1, which is Judges, verse 16. "And the children of Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up out of the city of palm trees with the children of Judah into the wilderness of Judah, which lieth in the south of Arad. And they went and they dwelt among the people." Careful. Oh, I know. I need to be careful because I do. I'm wondering if we should call the police, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe someone else will call the police. Okay, so they took all the children. It says, "And the children of Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up." Now Moses is mentioned in here. Now, how did Moses get mentioned in here? This sounds so confusing. I mean, in Judges, this part of the Bible is very, very confusing because I'm not sure exactly what is going on here. There is no specific story. It's written in little phrases that do not make any sense. It's like bits and pieces of the Bible is missing. And I think that's a fair statement. But now verse 15 in chapter 1 of Judges, "And she said unto him, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south land. Give me also springs of water. And Caleb gave her the upper springs and the nether springs." So they were asking for water, and Caleb gave them the water because they needed water. Now we're at verse 17. And Judah went with Simon his brother, and they slew the Canaanites that inhabited Zaphath and utterly destroyed it. And the name of the city was called Hormah. Hormah, Hormah. They named the city Hormah. Verse 18. Also Judah took Gaza. Here we go. Took Gaza with the coast thereof, and Askelon with the coast thereof, and Akron with the coast thereof. So here we found Gaza. The Gaza Strip is mentioned here, which I think this is the war between Gaza and Palestine. And it's still going on, apparently. I'm old. I will tell you that I'm over the age of 50. I'm very old. And so we are on verse 18. And Judah took Gaza with the coast thereof, and Askelon with the coast thereof, and Ekron with the coast thereof. So there was 3 sets of land and properties that Judah took. Oh, I thank you so much for saying that I don't sound like an old person. I just kind of think I've sounded like me my whole life, even though when I was a kid, I did have a higher voice. Now we're moving on to verse 19. And the Lord was with Judah, and he drave out. I don't know what the word drave is, unless it means drove. It sounds similar to drove, but it says he drave out the inhabitants of the mountain, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had chariots of iron. Well, you want to know, I am from the United States of America. Where are you from? And so they had chariots of iron. What would you speculate a chariot of iron is? Now, I have read this part before, and this part is quite interesting because I have often thought, what would you call a chariot of iron? I would call a chariot of iron a tank. So what I am reading here in the Bible very easily could be talking about military munitions 2,000 years ago. And this is an interesting verse because of the fact it's Judges chapter 1, verse 19, talking about chariots of iron, not fire, but chariots of iron, which to me would be talking possibly about a tank. Maybe they were called chariots back then. I don't know. But the Bible has been fighting for over 2,000 years. And that part of the world has been fighting for over 2,000 years over land. But I call into question Judges chapter 1, verse 19, of what a chariot of iron is. A chariot of iron. So if you have someone, and so this is the thing I think about, is we don't know what we don't know, which means that, like for example, I'm going to deflect back to my childhood. So when I was 5 years old, there was a lot of things in life I didn't know about. I did learn about chariots. Now, typically, we might think of a chariot is, I kind of think about like during Easter time, they would have, No, I am not married. Um, so a chariot was one of those things that they had put people on their shoulders and they lifted them up by sticks. And so they were carrying a person of royalty on a chariot. They could not possibly be talking about a chariot like that on people's shoulders. It says they had chariots of iron. So a chariot is going to be a chariot is going to be, let's look up a definition of chariot. Let's see what a chariot, I just want to see a meaning of a chariot. A chariot is a two-wheeled horse-drawn vehicle used in ancient warfare and racing. Okay, so chariot is an old word. However, it says it's a two-wheeled horse-drawn vehicle used in ancient warfare and racing. So with evolution of high-tech machinery, we could also call a chariot a tank. So what they would have had back then, it said chariots of iron. Well, would a two-wheeled horse-drawn vehicle be a chariot of iron? I don't typically picture a two-wheeled horse-drawn vehicle as a chariot of iron. So verse 19 in Judges chapter 1 references because they had chariots of iron. What would be a chariot of iron? I mean, so for 2,000 years, we as citizens living on the planet Earth, we had no technology before around 400 years ago. We had no technology. We were just using horses and buggies. And I mean, because that's what's been depicted on TV to us, is that we just had horses and buggies, and we really didn't have much any modes of transportation but horses. Or was the United States living in an oppressed type of a situation itself? I would have to call that into question related to my own country, and that we have had to kind of dig ourselves out of a something in our own country that's very similar to what's going on in Europe. Possibly. I'm not sure. But the Bible talks about war. It talks about society and humanity that is repeating bad practices of the past. And so there's a lot of people who will say, well, if we don't learn from the mistakes of the past, or if we don't talk about them, then we're doomed to repeat the same mistakes of the past. And so, when I think about it, it's like most people do not want to go to war over and over again. People sacrifice their life going to war for various reasons. Okay, so let's carry on a little bit here. But verse 19 in Judges chapter 1 is kind of a notable chapter, a notable verse right here, with chariots of iron. What is the iron chariots that they're using? Okay, verse 20. And they gave Hebron, my name is LightStar. I'm not going to tell you my name for reasons. And they gave Hebron unto Caleb, as Moses said, and he expelled thence the three sons of Anak. Oh my goodness! This cannot be what people are talking about, the reference of an Anunnaki, maybe? I don't know. But someone else was talking about this and the Anunnaki. But Anak, A-N-A-K, is referenced in Judges chapter 1, verse 20. I'm not going to tell you my name. My name is 10LightStar01. That's what I'm using here on the internet. It is not my real name. Trump loves me. That is such a funny thing to say, that Trump loves me. That is such, that is the he's what he said is that what I heard Donald say not too long ago was he said that he doesn't love everyone. He did say that. He said he doesn't love everyone because I heard him saying at one point that he did love everyone, and then he's changed his tune a tiny bit once he got to be president the second time. He said, "No, we don't love everyone." And so, um, Trump, Donald has absolutely no idea who I am. He has absolutely no idea who I am. Um, and so, okay. So we are moving on to verse 21. And the children of Benjamin did not drive out of the Jebusites. Jebusites. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that you have told me that I have a beautiful voice. I thank you. I try to do things in a way that would be for people to enjoy listening to. I do the best that I can. And the children of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites that inhabited Jerusalem, but the Jebusites. It's Jebusites, Jebusites, Jebusites. But the Jebusites dwell within the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem unto this day. That would be a reference of DNA, I'm thinking. The children of Benjamin, and the children of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites that inhabited Jerusalem, but the Jebusites dwell with the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem unto this day, which means that the relatives, the DNA relatives, are still in Jerusalem. So what they're referencing with the parables is that the relatives and ancestors are still there. Even though they think they got rid of them, they're still there. Now we are at verse 22, Judges chapter 1. And the house of Joseph, they also went up against Bethel, and the Lord was with them. Now we are moving on to verse 23. And the house of Joseph sent to decry Bethel. Now the name of the city before was Luz, spelled Luz. That's an interesting name of the city. So they're referencing names of cities, and people have actually named themselves after names of after cities, city names. Um, if there's nothing wrong with that. Naming your baby, if you find a city, or taking part of a city. Now look at the city. Look at Bethel. Now the name Beth is popular. Oh, this is something that I like to do. I like to do homophones, which is words within words, or words nested within words. Now we take the name Elizabeth. Hello, Etham. Etham, hello. I remember you from yesterday, or no, you might be a little bit different. You have a little emoji guy. You look like you're orange. You are orange, and the one yesterday was kind of reddish looking. But the name Elizabeth, it's spelled Elizabeth. So let's look at the name Elizabeth. But we're going to break it apart. Eliz, which is Eliza. But let's look at Zabeth. Zabeth, which sounds like Sabbath. 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 Etham in Turkish. Etham. Ethem. Edom. them, Edom, hem. Them is in Edom. Is that a Turkish word? I did make a video about Turkey. Oh, Turkey. Oh my gosh. That was so interesting. Istanbul. I always thought I would like to visit Istanbul. You reminded me of a video I made earlier today because Istanbul is a rare occurrence of a city that is residing on two different continents, that of Europe and Asia. And I was looking on Google Maps and you could see the split. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. That's why I love Google Maps with a passion. I totally read in Turkish and not English. I don't have a way to translate. Well, let me see if I can. Okay, I'm going to use Google Translate here and see what I come up with. That's what I'm going to do. I will do that. I will do that for you. And I'm going to. I don't have a Bible where I can translate. Let me see here if I have some translate to English. English. Nope, Google will not let me choose another language. Oh, okay. It says choose another. I think it's going to let me choose Turkish. Okay, let me see if I. This is going to sound so ridiculous. MOPQRST. Okay, I'm going to find it here. Turkish. Okay, I'm on, let me look. I'm going to start here at verse 23. It says, and the house of Joseph sent to decry Bethel. Now the name of the city before was Light. Well, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to translate to Turkish. Oh, I'm not sure how I'm going to read this. Okay, it's in Turkish and it says, V Yasavan, Evi, Anu, Kesfetmek, Ison Adam, Gondurdi, Betel, Samidi, Seren, Ad, Daha, once Asik. Okay, so did you understand that? So we're moving to verse 24. Kasuslar, Sahirdan, Sikan, Bir Adam, Gordular, Viana, Lutven, Seir, Girisi, Bazi, Goster, Sana Merhamat, Gosterlim, Dediler, Dediler, Vasir, Garisi, Anlara, Gosternus, Sahiri, Kalistan, Gasirdalir, Fakat, Adami V, Baton, Alessani, Sirbest, Birak, Talar. Have you ever watched Turkish TV? I have not. I did not know that Turkey had TV. I have never, ever in my life watched a Turkish TV series ever. Never in my life. The Adam Hitler. Oh, this is interesting. Now I want to. I am at verse. I am still in Judges chapter 1, verse 26. But I don't know what I'm reading right now because I'm reading it in Turkish. V Adam Hitler Diyarina Gidi V Bir Sahir Karudu V Onon Adini Koi Di Isaac Bagun Kadar Ismi Bu Sikild Animat Anil Muqtadir. I butchered that up, but I read it. Manasseh, D. Halcom, Kov Madi, Beit Sanvi, Kasabalari, Datanachiv, Onan, Kasabalari, Nadi, Nedi, Nede, that's 2 words, Sakin la Grieve, Onan, Kasabalari, Nedi, Sakin lir, that's a big word, Sakin lir bolimivi. Okay, now I know I like making big English words, and so apparently Turkish people do the same thing. Sakinler iblimivi, onan kasablari, nidi sakinleri megidi dove. Oh, dove is in this word. I butchered the whole word. Sakinleri megidi dove. Die Sakenlarry Megidove. Die Sakenlarry Megadove. Megadove is what it's saying. That's what it looks like. It's a really big word. Kentlary is Kentlary Ama Kenan Lilair. These words are challenging to say. Ukedi. Hang on a second. Okay, so let's get back to reading the Bible in Turkish. So I'm moving on to verse 28 of Judges. I don't even know how to say Judges in Turkish. Maybe, let me get up the other Google Translate, because the page translate is cool. I always forget about the page translate. It's gotten a lot better. You definitely need to come to Turkey. I always thought I would like to visit Turkey, but right now, the way things are, I don't know that would ever happen. I was trying to think. I know at one time there was soldiers stationed in Turkey. Was it in Surlok? In Surlok, Turkey. Where was Surlok at? I don't remember if it was in Surlok. I remember they always were talking about Istanbul. Cut your plane ticket tomorrow. I'll be at the airport. Cut my plane ticket. I don't know who was able to do that, to just be able to go to places like that fast. And I never would have thought that military could just decide where they want to go just out of the blue and do things that fast. ST. Let me see. I want to see what the word judge is in Turkish. Turkish. Where are you? Turkish. Yarjik, Argic or Argis, or Yarjik or Yargis. I'm not sure. I'll be waiting at the door with a piece of paper with your name in my hand. I have never in my life lived that life to have I know there's people on YouTube who have done this. Never in my life have I lived that kind of life to have to go someplace and have a courier um, waiting for me at the airport with my name on a piece of paper. Now, I've seen that on TV shows, but that's never happened for me in my life ever. I have never lived that kind of life ever. Uh, now, I've seen people in Los Angeles do that. I've seen YouTubers do that, where they got, um, where they would go into a airport and there was someone there waiting for them when they got into the airport. And that's what they told them, that there was going to be a person there. Once they get off the airport, there's a person there with their name on a piece of paper, because they had sent a courier service or a limousine for them. I have never in my life lived that life ever. Ever, ever, ever. That would be nice if I had someone if I could live that life for, even if it was only for a little while. It would be kind of fun, but I don't want to just be, living the life and not making any money from it. Now the thing is, I hate to always mention money because of the fact it's like, not everyone makes money. I really don't understand you. I'm sorry, you're tiring your body? What do you mean I'm tiring my body? I just think it would be kind of fun to be able to, I'm tiring my body? Should I get back to reading this in Turkish? Because I'm butchering it really, really good. I'm butchering if you write from the translation, we can get along. Well, you're writing in English, and I can't actually write I like writing in English and understanding what I'm saying. Otherwise, now here's a word. Okay. Toynok. What is a toynok? Verse 30 has Zebulon di Halkini, Kovmadi toynok, Needy Sakanleri, Delhi. Delhi is in here. Fakat, Kanan Livar, Onlaren, Aracinda, Otter Dular, Ververgi. Some of this actually looks Scandinavian. Oh, Odeyenler, Odular. It actually sounds Scandinavian, and this is Turkish, but it kind of has a little Scandinavian overtones to it. So the only word I understood was okay. So you mean you have me reading to you in Turkish, and you have absolutely no idea what I'm saying. But yet you have me reading to you in Turkish, and you don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying either. In verse 34, it says Dan. I have to wonder, let me see if I can get back to, let me see if I can get back to English. Detected language. No, we need to go back to, let's see if we can get back to English. Choose another language. Let's choose. We don't get along, but I can tell it's funny when you're laughing, so I'm laughing. Okay. We don't get along, but you can tell it's funny when I'm laughing. Okay. Okay. Should I read English? Let's see what other language I can butcher. This would be funny. They have EWE as a language. What language is EWE? I don't want to read that language. Let's find a different language to read. Choose another language. Okay. I don't want to read EWE because that looks like sheep language. Uh, how old are you? I will be glad if you write in numbers. Um, let me see here. I am I am over the age of 50. Okay, so I wrote down there, I am over the age of 50. Oh, you want me to lie? Why do you want me to lie? Okay. I am over the age of 18. Okay. I'm I'm over. Okay. I am over the age of 13. I'm over the age of 13. Is that better? I'm over the age of. Your voice sounds like you're 24 to 25 years old. Well, thank you. I have been listening to. I listen to a lot of people, and I actually feel sometimes. I know that men have a way of dismissing things, that they just don't worry about things. Women do worry about things. And I feel bad a lot of times when I listen to women, because it's like I know I have been and am in this similar situation where women are critical of other women. And so I am trying very, very hard to not be critical of other women at all with things that I say. And so I've backed off from saying anything on a lot of times on women's live streams, because of the fact it's like I understand what they're doing, because they are self-criticizing themselves right now. So women are in a big place of being very critical and judgmental because of how society has been on women, and we are in the midst of that. It is very, very transparent on YouTube right now, women critical of their self. Now, what I would recommend to women, if they can do that, if you believe in God, forgive yourself. If you're asking God for forgiveness, forgive yourself, because you are God, you are Jesus. Forgive yourself. That's the hardest thing for us to understand, because if we come from God and we are Jesus and we are the Trinity, we are 3 in 1, which means the 3 in 1 of the Trinity is within ourselves. You are God, you are Jesus. Forgive yourself. I forgive you. I can say I forgive you. I don't know if it helps, but forgive yourself. Decide if you are 50 years old, 18, or 13. Um, I want, okay, so if you want to give me an age, I want to be, if you want me to make up a fake age, I would rather be, I want to be like 37 years old if you want me to make up a fake age. I want to be 37. That's the age I want to be, 37. I want to be in my 30s because I kind of liked being in my 30s. What's up? Oh, Jeffrey is back. Jeffrey, oh my gosh, Jeffrey is back. Oh my, do I get a trip to Epstein Island? Do I get to win a trip to Epstein Island? Oh, please, can I win a trip to Epstein Island? I'm 23 years old. You're older or younger than me. I want, what? Jeffrey? Oh my good grief. I'm not going to delete that. Um, I'm just not going to delete that. I don't like the censorship, and so. Oh, this is funny. Okay. I need to select all messages. So on my phone. Okay, now I see Jeffrey. I didn't have all messages selected, and so I'm sitting here looking at the laptop, and I'm thinking, okay, Jeffrey, something showed up on the computer on the laptop. But Jeffrey, you are being very, very naughty. But I'm going to leave that up there. You're not spamming, thank goodness. So please don't start spamming. We don't need that. Um, and so he just said his true feelings of what he is thinking about. And so, I mean, it's not going to happen. And you know what? How much you want to bet that Jeffrey is, I'm going, Grandma. Take care of yourself. Oh, goodbye, Grandpa Etham. Goodbye, Grandpa Etham. Because I know your grandpa, you're probably old your own self, right, Etham? You're probably an old. Oh, I did look up Trollge. And you know what Trollge is? That is a character. So I found something else to make some of my little joke videos about now. I mean, because I've been having fun with the Skibbity toilet. Now I need to do Trollge. Who have we got in here now? We have got... I'm trying to get my King James Bible back into English. I'm having a hard time here. Okay, let's get you back into English. King James Bible here. We need to get you back into English. This is why I like the laptop, because I can still utilize translation, whereas the phones, it's a little bit harder. It's especially harder doing it like this. And okay, so we have got Jeffrey Epstein. Now Jeffrey is old and Jeffrey is married. I think, isn't Jeffrey married to Giselle or something? Or was that a woman? Is he married to Giselle? I don't know. So, okay, we've got Givaldi's 85. It says your camera is broken. No, my camera is not broken. And Balahu Sarafa says hello. No, my camera is not broken. I am just not going in front of the camera because, being famous is not something that is that important to me. I will take my 15 minutes of fame if I can be a politician, maybe, or something like that. But I don't want to do it under false and nefarious pretenses related to the way that someone is doing things with the internet. I mean, I think it's kind of messed up that you would just want to do things to tear down YouTubers. And that's all people are doing, is tearing down YouTubers. And I don't want to be a part of that. That's the corporate thing. And I have never been part of Hollywood ever. I've never been part of that. And so that's why I read some of the stuff in the Bible every once in a while. And I do things outside the scope of what Hollywood will do. I do things way outside the scope of what Hollywood does. Now tomorrow someone's going to come back, but I do another live stream and tell me that I'm 37 years old. I have a feeling that's going to happen. But Adoni Nebezik fled, and they pursued after him. Now, remember, we're doing this just for entertainment purposes only right now. I'm an entertainment reader. I'm just doing things for entertainment purposes. And that's what I always was. I mean, Google said the phones are for entertainment purposes. Google Play, that says right on the phones. They're for entertainment purposes. And so what else would we be doing them for? Now, we're down here to... Oh, these are verses I've already read. Let's try to read something we have not read yet. Okay, we're going to read verse 24 in Judges. And the spies saw a man come forth out of the city, and they said unto him, Shew us, we pray thee, the entrance into the city, and will shew thee mercy. And when he shewed them the entrance of the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword. But they let go the man and all his family. And the man went into the land of Hittites and built a city, and called the name thereof Light, which is name thereof unto this day. There's a city of light? I didn't know that. That's interesting. And why I just decided to read Judges today, I don't know, unless it's in the back of my mind. I did not know there is a city named Light in the Middle East. Neither did Manasseh drive out of the inhabitants of Bashehan and her towns, nor Tanakh and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Panan and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Blemed and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Megiddo and her towns, but the Canaanites would dwell in the land. And it came to pass, when Israel was strong, that they put the Canaanites to tribute, and did not utterly drive them out. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites that dwelt the wandering, but the Canaanites dwelt in wandering among them. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Hoof, nor the inhabitants of Crazy. I didn't know the Bible mentioned crazy. It does right here. I'm going to have to look in a real Bible, though, and not the internet Bible, because the word crazy is, I just find this hard to believe that crazy is mentioned in the Bible. This is in Judges chapter 1, verse 30. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Hoof, nor the inhabitants of Crazy, but the Canaanites dwelt among them and become tributaries. I gotta set my phone down. I got a Bible handy here, and I'm gonna look. Okay, we are in Judges chapter. Okay, where's Judges at? I don't know where Judges is at. I have got to look this up in a real Bible and see if the words crazy is mentioned inside of Judges. Judges, where are you? Okay, we used to have what's it called? A table of contents. Okay, there's Corinthians, or I could go up to the top here and see whereabouts it's at. Maybe that's what I'll do. Judges is, it's at the beginning. Joshua. I should have, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Okay, so it's at the beginning. Okay, here we found Judges. Chapter 1, what verse was I reading? Does anyone remember what verse I was reading? What verse was I reading? Because it mentioned something about... Okay, verse 30. 130. Chapter 30. Let's see here. Hopefully I can read it. 26, 29, 30. Okay, so Zebulun did not drive out the inhabitants of Kitron, or the inhabitants of Naharol, and the Canaanites lived among them and became subject to forced labor. Yet on the Internet Bible it says crazy. So it talks about forced labor actually they became tributaries. So tributaries would be something as a reference to the earth. But in the Bible, it says Zebulon did not drive out the inhabitants of Kitron or the inhabitants of Naharolol. So the Canaanites lived among them, but became subject to forced labor. This is a notable part in the Bible, too, of the Canaanites. They became forced labor over in the Middle East. This is a notable verse in Judges chapter 1, verse 30. So Internet Bible has changed, some things. Inhabitants of crazy. And, I mean, okay, well, what's the definition of crazy, though? Now, crazy would mean forced labor. I mean, because they're going to do some things that are inappropriate to the people that they have in their forced internment camps. Now, there's even people who are calling alligator Alcatraz. They're calling alligator Alcatraz an internment camp now. I knew it would be just a matter of time that they'd be calling it an internment camp. And they're right, though. I agree with them. Alligator Alcatraz is an internment camp. And so if you're going to look, so the online Bible is using some different words, which, I mean, that's okay. I mean, because somebody else is sponsoring it, and so they're going to put in some different words. So verse 30 of Judges is referencing forced labor camps. That's what they're talking about, is forced labor camps. And so then when they let them loose or turn them loose, they're turning them into the loose wandering. It's talking about wandering. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites that dwelt in wandering, but the Canaanites dwelt in wandering among them. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Hoof, nor the inhabitants of Crazy, but the Canaanites dwelt among them and became tributaries. Now, if there's a reference to the land features, or is it people? If it's people, the Bible references forced labor camps. Neither did Ashar drive out the inhabitants of Akko, nor the inhabitants of Zidon, nor the Alab, nor the Achazib, nor of Helba, or Aphik, nor of Rehob. But the Asherites dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, for they did not drive them out. Neither did Naphtali drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, nor the inhabitants of Bethany, but he dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. Nevertheless, the inhabitants of Bethany became tributaries unto them. Tributaries. Now, what would tributaries mean? Are they talking about landmass features? Oh, I love you too, Majay. Majay, I love you. I know you guys like to get that word out there. This is the Old Testament. We are reading in the Old Testament. Judges is in the Old Testament. And the Amorites forced the children of Dan. Okay, this I remember. I when I was reading it in Turkish, Dan was in here. And the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountain, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley. So this is verse 34, Judges chapter 1. So the children of Dan were forced to go someplace else. But the Amorites would dwell in the Mount Heres of Aijalon and the Shalbim, yet the hand of the house of Joseph prevailed, so they became tributaries. Well, I want what in the world? Tributaries, as in tribe, a tributary, or a tribe of, or are they referencing land features as in tributaries of a river? I don't know. Because there's so much mixed things in there. And the coast of Amorites was from going up to Akrabim, from the rock and upward. Okay, so what is the commentary? There is commentary where someone has given commentary about Judges. Maybe I'll read a little bit of the commentary. This chapter gives us a particular account what sort of progress the several tribes of Israel. So tributaries referencing in Judges must mean tribes. The tribes of Israel made in the reducing of Canaan after death of Joshua. Oh, this is what they're talking about as in reducing the population. Culling the herd is what they're talking about. He did, as we say, break the neck of the great work and put in such posture that they might easily have perfected it in due time if they had not been wanting themselves what they did in order hereunto, and wherein they came short, we were told. The united tribes of Judah, Simeon did bravely. God appointed Judah to begin. Judah took Simeon to act in conjunction with him. They succeeded in their enterprises against Bezek, Jerusalem, Hebron, Debir, Hormah, Gaza, and other places. Yet where there were chariots of iron, their hearts failed them. Mention is made of the Kenites settling among them. Other tribes, in comparison with these, acted a cowardly part. Benjamin failed. The house of Joseph did well against Bethel, but in other places did not approve their advantages. Nor Manasseh, nor Ephraim, Zebulun spared the Canaanites. Asher truckled worse than any of them to the Canaanites. Naphtali was kept out of the full possession of several cities. Dan was straitened by the Amorites. No account is given of Issachar, nor the two tribes and half of the other side of Jordan. Oh, so there's a whole nother side that there's no account of related to what happened. Now, after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, who shall go up against the Canaanites first to fight against them? And the Lord, okay, so I'm reading, wait, okay, I thought this was kind of a summary. Who shall go up against the Canaanites first to fight against them? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land into his hand. And Judah said unto Simon his brother, come up with me into my lot, and we may fight against the Canaanites. Okay, so here I, the children of Israel, consult the oracle of God for direction, which all the tribes should first attempt to clear their country of the Canaanites. The Bible in this chapter in Judges is talking about a Holocaust of sorts. In Judges, that's what it's talking about. They want to get rid of the Canaanites. So this is before the Jewish Holocaust. So in this time frame, in the beginning, so this is almost in the beginning of when the Bible was taking place, which was BC, before Christ. They are talking about a Holocaust, clearing the country of the Canaanites. And so the things that we have going on in the United States and even in other countries around the world, what the Bible expresses is that we have had this going on for a very long time, related to, I don't know, can we call it critical race theory, maybe? But the Bible has, the Bible just tells what's going on. But they were trying to get rid of their country of the Canaanites. This is very similar to the Jewish Holocaust and Hitler. That's what I see. I mean, the way the summary is written here in this Bible on the internet, it's the summary. I mean, I agree with it, so they're just making sense of it. So someone wrote some things that actually make sense of the Bible so we can understand what they're talking about. They're attempting to clear their country of Canaanites and to animate and encourage the rest. It was after the death of Joshua. While he lived, he directed them, and all the tribes were obedient to him. But when he died, he left no successor in the same authority. Oh, this is interesting. He left no successor, which is similar to Jeffrey Epstein and, with his island. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of in a small scale. Um, they left no successor. Jeffrey left no successor to own his island, even though there's some documentation on the internet that says it's been sold to someone else. Um, but when he left no successor in the same authority that he had, but the people must consult the breastplate of judgment, and thence receive the word of command, for God himself, as he was their king, so he was the Lord of their hosts. The question they ask is, who shall go up first? By this time, we may suppose they were so multiplied that the places they were in possession of began to be too strait for them, and they must thrust out the enemy to make room. Now they inquire who should first take up arms, whether each tribe was ambitious of being first, and so strove for the honor of it, or whether each was afraid of being first, so strove to decline it. Does not appear, but common consent the matter was referred to God himself, who is the fittest both to dispose of honors and to cut out work. So it sounds like there's a discussion of that they really don't want to go to war. That's what it sounds like. That they really don't want to go to war. God appointed that Judah should go first and promised him success. I have delivered the land unto his hand to be possessed, and therefore will deliver the enemy into his hand, that keeps him out of possession to destroy. And why must Judah be the first in undertaking? Judah was the most numerous and powerful tribe, and therefore let Judah venture first. Note, God appoints service according to the strength he has given. Those are the most able. From them most work is expected. Judah was first in dignity, and therefore must be first in duty. He it is whom his brethren must praise, and therefore he it is who must lead the perilous services. Let the burden of honor and the burden of work go together. Judah was first served. The lot came up for Judah first, and therefore Judah must first fight. Judah was the tribe out of which the Lord was to spring, so that in Judah Christ, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, went before Christ, engaged in the powers of darkness first, and foiled them, which animates us for our conflicts, and it is him that we are more conquerors. Observe the service and the success that are put together. Judah shall go up, let him do his part, and then he shall find that I have delivered the land unto his hand. His service will not avail unless God gives the success, but God will not give the success unless he vigorously apply himself to the service. You need a Bible? Well, you don't have a Bible? You're on the internet. You can actually use the internet to look at Bibles. Judah hereupon prepares to go up, but courts his brother and neighbor, the tribe of Simeon, a lot of which tribe fell within that of Judah, and was assigned out of it to join forces with him. Observe here that the strongest should not despise but desire the assistance, even of those that are weaker. Judah was most considerable of all the tribes, and Simeon the least considerable, and yet Judah begs Simeon's friendship and prays and aid from him. The head cannot say to the foot, I have no need for thee, for we are members one of another. Those that crave assistance must be ready to give assistance. Come with me. Oh, this is interesting. Let's read this part again on number 2 here. This is a summary that was given with the Bible. Those that crave assistance must be ready to give assistance. Come with me into my lot, and then I will go with thee into thine. It becomes Israelites to help one another against the Canaanites, and all the Christians, even those of different tribes, should strengthen one another's hands against the common interests of Satan's kingdom. Those who thus help one another in love have reason to hope that God will graciously help them both. Star G and Rue. You're single. Okay, you're single. I'm not sure what that means. I have absolutely no idea who is even telling me that they're single. That's nice that you're single. I'm glad you're single. I don't know what we're doing here. G and Rue. G and is that like Gru, the GRU, like the cartoon Gru, or is it a you want to get married? I can't just randomly get married to someone. You're joking. This is a big joke. Getting marriage proposals on the internet. That's funny. I have. How old are you, MJ? How old are you? That would just seem so weird. It means good night and how are you? It means good night and how are you at the same time. That's kind of funny. Oh, this part of the Bible is interesting too. We are in Roman numeral, I believe it's number 4 of the summary of Judges, chapter 1. Or probably the whole chapter. I didn't read the whole chapter. The Confederate forces of Judah and Simeon take the field. Judah went up, and Simeon with him. Caleb, it was probable, was commander-in-chief of this expedition. For who so fit as he had both an old man's head and a young man's hand, the experience of age and vigor of youth? Josh. It should seem to, by what follows, that he was not yet in possession of his own allotment. It was happy for them that they had such a general as, according to his name, was all heart. Some think that the Canaanites had got together into a body, a formidable body, when Israel consulted who should go and fight against them, and that they began to stir when they heard of the death of Joshua, whose name had been so dreadful to them. But if so, it provided they did but meddle in their own hurt. Now you're 34 years old. Oh, goodness sakes. What's your time there? My time is 10:09. It's 20:09. That's what time it is. 20:09 o'clock. 20:09 o'clock. 2009. That's what time it is. 20:09. Now we are on Roman numeral 5, which is a V. God gave them success, whether they invade the enemy or the enemy first gave them the alarm. The Lord delivered them unto their hand. Though the army of Judah was strong and bold, yet the victory is attributed to God. He delivered the Canaanites into their hand, having given them authority. He here gives them ability to destroy them, put it in their power, and so tired their obedience to his command, which utterly to cut them off. Bishop Patrick observes upon this that we meet not with such religious expressions in the heathen writers concerning the success of their arms as we have here and elsewhere in this sacred history. I wish such pious acknowledgments of the divine providence had not grown into disuse at this time with many that are called Christians. Now we are told how the army of the Canaanites was routed in the field or near Bezek, the place where they drew up afterwards. Saul made the place of a general rendezvous. Sam She 8. They slew 10,000 men, which blow, if followed, could not but a very great weakening to those that were already brought so very low. How their king was taken and mortified. His name was Adoni Bezek, and signifies Lord Bezek. There have been those called their lands by their own name. But here was one, and there has been many another that called himself by his land's name. He called himself by his land's name. That is so interesting that that comes up. He called himself by his land's name. So there have been kings who called themselves by their land's name. That is so strange. Imagine that if you had a president, that would be like Putin changing his name to Russia, that they're now going to call him Russia. His name is Russia. It's no longer Putin, but it's Russia. He was taken prisoner after the battle, and we are here told how they used him. They cut off his thumbs to disfit him for fighting, and his great toes, that he might not be able to run away. It had been barbarous thus to triumph over a man in misery, and that lay at their mercy, that he was a devoted Canaanite, and one that had in the manner abused others, which probably they had heard of. Josephus said they cut off his hands and his feet, probably supposing those more likely to be mortal wounds than only cutting off his thumbs and his great toes. But this dignity which they did him extorted him from acknowledgment of the righteous of God. Here observe what a great man this Adoni Bezek has been. How great in the field where armies fled before him. How great at home where kings were set with the dogs of his flock. And yet now himself a prisoner, and reduced to the extremity of meanness and disgrace. See how changeable this world is, how slippery its high places are. Let not the highest be proud, nor the strongest secure, for they know not for how low they may be brought before they die. Let's read that again. Let's read this verse again. Let not the highest be proud, nor the strongest secure, for they know not how low they may be brought before they die. What desolations he had made among his neighbors! He had wholly subdued 70 kings to such a degree as they have his prisoners. He that was the chief person in a city was then called a king, and the greatness of their title did but aggravate their disgrace, and fired the pride with him that insulted over them. We cannot suppose that Adoni Bezek had 70 of these petty princes at one of his slaves, but first and last, in the course of his reign, he had thus disposed and abused so many who perhaps were many of them kings of the same cities that successively opposed him, and whom he thus treated to please his own imperious barbarous fancy, and for the terror of others. It seems the Canaanites had been wasted by civil wars, and those bloody ones among them, which would very much facilitate the conquest of them by Israel. Judah said, Dr. Lightfoot, I'm conquering. Adoni Bezek did, in effect, conquer 70 kings. How justly he has treated as he treated others. How justly he was treated as he has treated others. Thus the righteous God sometimes, in his providence, makes the punishment to answer the sin, and observes an equality in his judgments. The spoiler shall be spoiled, and the treacherous dealer dealt treacherously with Esau. And those that showed no mercy shall have no mercy shown them. How honestly he owned the righteous of God herein. As I have done, so God requited me. See the power of conscience when God by his judgments awakens it. How it brings sin to remembrance. How it brings sin to remembrance. Now, with sin, okay, sin, things are only a sin if you think they're a sin. Now, sin is a word used for a wrong done against a person. Now, there's a lot of things that are not sins, but people think that they're sins. Because I know when I was younger, I liked to go hang out at the nightclubs when I was younger in my 30s. I think that's probably why I picked the number 37. I would go hang out at the club. It was fun. We were hanging out with people our own age, and, some were younger, some were older. The great part about the nightclubs, this was before everybody got mean going to nightclubs. And so, but I think I wrote this on another YouTuber's channel, and I'll share it here right now. What was kind of funny was the fact that we'd go to the nightclubs, and then the religious folks with the church tracts, they would be out at 2:00 in the morning handing out the church tracts because they didn't want us being in the nightclubs. And so actually, even at the age of 37, I felt old because I thought, there was people who were younger, and they were telling me, they're like, oh, well, we're in our early 20s. Like, why are you at the nightclub? So the ones who were younger, they actually thought, the ones who were in their 20s, they thought that they should be the only ones in the nightclubs, that I was like too old to be there because I'd been married and I was divorced at the time. And they thought that I should not be in the nightclub when I was in my 30s. Now, when I think back to that age now, that would be kind of a fun age to go back to and to do things a little bit differently. If only I could do that. If I could teleport myself back there to do things a little bit differently, I would do them differently. And I would probably still go to the nightclub, but I would probably do things differently related to my dating habits and things like that. I most definitely would have. But I'm not going to go into that too much right now. I'm going to continue reading in the Bible. I'm going to continue reading this summary of Judges. How honestly he owned the righteous of God herein, as I have done. So God has requited me. See the power of conscience when God, by his judgment, awakens it. How it brings sin to remembrance. That's the part I liked. Do I like? I love traveling. I miss traveling. Actually, I have loved traveling, and you know, it. But I would need a budget to be able to travel. how it brings sin to remembrance. Judgment awakens, and how it brings sin to remembrance. Um, Now, how do I talk about this part without making everybody go away? Because the thing I want to address a little bit is I've shared with a lot of people about things that have happened in my own life related to physically violent marriages. Now, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to talk any more about that right now. But the one thing I wanted to say is in the midst of all of that, when you're in the midst of it, now this part here, it says judgment awakens, how it brings sin to remembrance. And so the judgment does awaken against the person who is doing something that would be considered a sin to you. So the Bible is always talking about an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It's, so when they're talking about cutting off someone's feet and toes and things, that's pretty much torture. Something you've been looking forward to. I don't really have anything I've been looking forward to. The thing that don't have anything I've been looking forward to right now. Um I really have no future that from what I see. I don't know. I kind of had looked forward to having a place to live at one time, and now that seems to be out of the question. Um so I've just kind of been living in the here and the now. I mean, we were told to live in the here and the now. And so when I do that, the only thing I have is the here and the now and today. So that means that I kind of do the same thing every day. And I don't focus on the future. I don't focus on the past too much. I don't focus on the future too much. I don't focus on the past too much. And so when I find something to keep my brain occupied in the here and the now, not focusing on the future, not focusing on the past, I find something to do and waste time. Wasting time actually when I play mindless computer games, that I know people have said that we play mindless computer games on the computer. So I find a do nothing mindless game to play on the computer. I'm just wasting time. And so I don't really have anything that I've been looking forward to. Um, I don't have any traveling. I looked forward to having a house. I thought maybe one day, maybe some sort of income or something. Um, but right now I have nothing to look forward to. But yes, I do like traveling. Um, I used to anyway, but the way things are right now, um, how do you feel when I kiss you? When who kisses me? When who? Who would be kissing me? I don't know who would be kissing me. That sounds like such a strange thing to say. An odd question. Or no, I've just cut off all emotions. I've cut off absolutely all emotions. I have cut off all thoughts of anything related to being in touch with another human being. I've just cut it all off. I mean, if judgment awakens, how it brings sin to remembrance. Cat person or dog person? I actually like both cats and dogs, actually. Cats and dogs are, and I used to have cats when I was younger. And I thought at one time, I'm kind of glad because of everything that's happened that I didn't get a cat. I thought about getting a cat, and I'm glad I didn't because then I would have to be taking care of animals, a bunch of animals that when I can't, don't even have the means to take care of myself, barely. Um, but I do like animals, actually. I have fun with animals. I've always thought that, I wanted to get, when I was by myself in a different place, I wanted to get another dog from the dog that I had, and I wanted to get my dog a cat. I thought, how do I spend my weekend? Pretty much doing nothing. I really don't have anything to do. I mean, I've tried doing things to make my YouTube channel work, and it doesn't really work. So when I've lost my job, my income that I was doing, I can't seem to gain the momentum that I used to have doing it. Um, so I spend my weekend pretty much just holed up in, in something that is, uh, can you come for what? I'm not sure what you're talking about related to come. Um, but judgment awakens. When God, by his judgment, awakens it, how it brings sin to remembrance. So you awaken the judgment, and it brings sin to remembrance. That is powerful right there. That is powerful. I have to read that one more time. See the power of conscience when God, by his judgment, awakens it, how it brings sin to remembrance. Now, if we want to go on talking about the judgment, judging someone else awakens, and then then it brings the sin of what another country has done to remembrance. So when you critically judge someone else for something, it brings the sin of what the others have done the same thing into remembrance. He seems to own that he was better dealt with than he dealt with his prisoners, for though the Israelites maimed him, according to the law of retaliation, an eye for an eye, so a thumb for a thumb, yet they did not put him under the table to be fed. Oh my gosh, this is talking about humiliating and demeaning a person. They put him under the table to be fed with the crumbs there, because though the other night well be looked upon as an act of justice, this would have savored more of pride and haughtiness than did become an Israelite. Particular notice is taken of the conquest of Jerusalem. Our translators judge it spoken of here as done formerly in Joshua's time, and only repeated on occasion of Adoni dying there, and therefore reading it. They have fought against Jerusalem. And put this verse in parentheses. But the original speaks of it as a thing now done, and this seems most probable because it's said to be done by children of Judah in particular, not by all Israel in general, whom Joshua commanded. Joshua indeed conquered and slew Adoni Zedek, king of Jerusalem. But we read not there of his taking of the city. Probably while he was pursuing his conquest elsewhere, this Adoni-Bezek, a neighboring prince, got possession of it, whom Israel have conquered in the field, and the city fell unto their hands. And they slew the inhabitants, except those who retreated into the castle, and held out there till David's time. And they set the city on fire, in token of their detestation of the idolatry wherewith it had been deeply infected, yet probably not so utterly as to consume it, but to leave convenient habitations for many, as they had to put in the possession of it. So I think that's where we'll end it, reading that. So this is 1425 BC. Yeah, that's what it says. That this is a reading of 1425 BC, before Christ. So the Bible is actually citing things before Christ was born, which the New Testament is kind of more about after Christ was born. The Old Testament is before Christ was born. It's interesting. It's interesting when there is a commentary. Let's see what this says. Matthew Henry's complete commentary on the whole Bible. So there is one person. Now keep in mind, this is one person giving commentary. So I haven't read everything related to the commentary. I think this is great that Matthew Henry has actually left commentary in the King James version of the Bible that he has. That would be kind of fun if there was a Bible type website for people to be able to log into and leave commentary about what they think things mean, and where they're not censored. That would be kind of fun to be able to do that on a website, and create some I don't like to use the word controversy, because you could just say you don't agree with something and it creates controversy with a lot of religious aspects of things. Well, I still kind of feel like I want to keep reading. Sometimes I like reading because otherwise I have nobody to talk to either. And so I just like reading to hear myself. And and I'll say this at the end. For people who are new to the internet, new to YouTube, they say it sounds funny for them to listen to themselves. Once you have listened to yourself a lot of times, you do your own editing, you get used to it, and you actually like listening to yourself. So that's one thing that I'll say is, for people that are new, they find it funny, you get used to it, and then you kind of like listening to yourself. It's like, because the thing is, it's like a lot of times you get so many people who disagree with you. It's like, well, just listen to yourself. You make the best content. There's a reason that you made it yourself, and you liked it. And if you're your only viewer, your only fan, maybe that's where only fan comes from. If you are your only fan of yourself, then more power to you, because you don't need an audience for yourself. you're your only fan. There's nothing wrong with that. To love yourself as you are and be your only fan. Because you are the father, the mother, you are the child, the daughter, the son of the Holy Spirit. God is within you. The mother and the father of the DNA is within you, within yourself. And you can forgive yourself because you have the power of God and Jesus is within you. You have that power. Nothing I can say. Well, I'm hoping maybe that something I can say can resonate with you. But if you feel you need forgiveness for something, forgive yourself. That is the most powerful thing, is to forgive yourself. Because God is within you, Jesus is within you, you have the power to forgive yourself. For sins that are not sins. For things that are not sins. If that's one thing I can give you, if you have been someone who has done things that are legal, and I always think back to Sergeant Major Grinston, who is now retired. I believe we call him retired Sergeant Major Grinston now, or maybe he's just Private Grinston because he's a private citizen. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened to him, but he's gone. I liked Sergeant Major Grinston of the United States Army, and I don't know who took his place because I haven't kept track of that lately. But he often referenced things that are not sins, or things that are legal. But how did he word it? Things that are legal but people consider wrong. Things that are legal but people consider wrong. And that's the same thing with sins. So if you have smoked and you have drank, just carry on. It's legal. If you have the money to actually do it, more power to you, because that stuff is expensive right now. So it's like there's a prohibition taking place against cigarettes and liquor right now. As inflation takes place and makes things cost more. They're legal. And that's the thing that I ask. Okay, it's legal. But the price has gone up way, way high. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Right. Well, we'll see you the next time.